This wobbly market for the pharmaceutical space. Granules India is a stock which is buzzing. The stock had been under pressure lately on account of some promoter pledge issues, though Motilal Oswal is betting on the company, raised their target price to 150 rupees as well. We have Mr. Krishna Prasad, the chairman and the MD of the company, joining us on the phone line. Mr. Prasad, before we go on to the business part of Granules, just a word on the promoter's pledge. How much is it right now? The last known number was 43.4%. What does it stand at right now?
It's still at 43, but in the next few weeks it's going to go down.
To?
We have made, the plan is to go down by another 10%. We have made some arrangements. There's a slight delay. We expect it to happen in a few more weeks.
So in the first half of this year, that's before September 2019, you're telling us the pledge that was at around 60% came down to around 43%, and it will be reduced to at least 33%. Is that correct?
That's right. You're right. Perfect.
Okay. So before we get to your operational performance, then want to ask you about your debt in your books as well. What was the debt in your books at the start of FY19? By the time you wound up, what did it end up at? And in this year, what kind of debt repayment plans do you have for Granules?
Debt when we started the year was 978 crores. That's the long-term and short-term borrowing.
Mm-hmm.
And long-term borrowing is coming down, but short-term borrowing is going up because we have started our operations in the U.S.
Mm-hmm.
And we need to keep a lot of inventory in the U.S. But it's still stable. It started at gross debt was 978, and now 991.
991 is what you ended FY19 at.
That's right.
Okay, FY19 you ended at 991. I was reading a report, they were saying you're looking to bring debt down by at least 50 crores. Is that correct for FY20?
That's the normal repayment of that long-term debt that will happen.
Mm-hmm.
And we're still working on bringing in more efficiencies in working capital, and we may be able to reduce even the short-term debt by a little smaller amount.
Mr. Krishna Prasad, you had also indicated to the exchanges that the promoters are looking to sell some of their personal assets worth 50 crore rupees to reduce the pledge. Is that the event which is taking a little more time than you expected it to?
Yeah, that's perfect. That got a little delayed. We expected it to have happened by now, and we are just keeping up.
What assets are these, and how long before you go ahead and sell it?
Deals have been done. It's only the cash that has to come in, and maybe I would say a few weeks or a month.
Yeah, but we're trying to probe you on, what is this? What are these assets you're talking about? The reason we ask you this is because the real estate market is in a bit of a flux. We have a lot of real estate developers that tell us that the deal is done, but it's going to take some time to come onto your books. But are you sure that the closure has happened? And what is the asset you're talking about?
It is real estate.
Mm-hmm.
It is partly a little bit of agricultural land outside the city and commercial land within the city in Hyderabad.
Okay.
Real estate is a little soft, but still we don't see any issue. The deal has been closed.
The deal has been closed at what price, sir?
Around that.
Around
Similar.
Oh, all right, fine. Okay, so we get that. Now let's talk about the business itself. Earlier you had received the US FDA approval for Ritalin generic. I think it was late May or something. How much do you expect it to contribute to your revenue? What is the potential revenue from this product?
This product is today at $65 million.
Mm-hmm.
And other than the innovator, there are only 2 other generics available in the market. And we will be the third one. And we do expect a fair share. Till we really get into the market, I won't be able to say. But normally, whenever we introduce a product, we look at 20% market share in the first year.
Okay.
And within 3 years, our track record says that we have hit 50% numbers.
And when you were planning to introduce this drug, you said whenever you introduce in the first year, you get 20%. We didn't get the numbers. How big is the market, and when are you looking to launch it?
We should be launching it sometime early August.
Okay.
And along with this, we also got another approval a few months ago, that is paracetamol extended release. Even that has got very good potential. That also should be launched next month. So from now on, every month we expect to be launching one product every month. We expect 5 to 6 approvals this year itself, and next year about 12 approvals.
All right. I want to ask you about your new capacity. That's your metformin capacity, if I'm not mistaken. The capacity utilization levels were in mid-teens, correct, for the past year?
Yes, the utilization was very low. We were just selling it in the local markets.
Okay.
We are not able to use it for our own use.
Yeah.
And the FDA is expected to visit us very shortly, in a few weeks. And
Yeah.
the minute we finish the inspection, we expect the approval. And that will not improve the top line, but definitely the bottom line would drastically improve once we start using our own metformin.
All right, so let's talk about your bottom line. In fact, your EBITDA margin line itself, was looking at the trend. 8 quarters away, it was closer to 20%. Now it's around 16%. Where do you see margins headed from here, and your outlook on input prices?
EBITDA margins are definitely going, and they've gone up from 17% in 18 to 17.8 in 19, but we expect this to cross 19%. It definitely is going to be 19% plus by the end of this year.
We like that. Confidence that is going to improve to around 19% and definitely will improve to 19% this year. So you have given us a margin guidance. Looking at another report, you have guided for around 20% growth in sales as well as 25% growth on profitability for the next 3 years. Is that correct?
That's right.
So on a year-to-year basis, you'll see at least a 20% growth. Is there any risk to this number, 20% revenue growth, 25% net profit growth?
We have provided a lot of margin for that. In fact, we are very confident we'll do better than that.
All right, and I was looking at this API, Losartan API, which Ekta tells us is an interesting opportunity for the company where you're looking to double your capacity. If you could tell us a little more about the sort of revenue that you do from this, and once you double your capacity, what's the sort of revenue you're looking at? And more importantly, how much money are you paying to double this capacity?
Not a lot, just a few crores, just marginal expansions, just changing a few reactors, and we expect we're going to double our capacity, and we think it's going to be about, let's say, about 100 crores revenue every year, 120 crores revenue per year on just one product.
Okay, all right, Mr. Krishna Prasad, thanks so much for stopping by and giving us all those details. So the gist is that the promoter pledge will come down to around 33% from current 43%. So that's one positive. Second factor is that the debt should be more or less stable, could reduce marginally, should hold at around 950 crores approximately. And in terms of a margin outlook, it should improve by around 150, 200 basis points to around 19%. Top line growth for the next few years at around 20%. Net profit growth for the next few years as well, 25%. The street seems to be liking what Mr. Krishna Prasad had to say. And the stock holding with a gain of around 8%, though the mid-cap index is on the verge of moving into the red. So keep an eye out on that front as well. But moving on, the Supreme Court has mandated starting April 1st next year, only Bharat Stage 6 compliant vehicles will be sold and registered. Sources tell cnbc TV 18 that the interministerial group has asked oil companies to provide a plan for better coordination for the rollout. Anu Sharma joins us with all those details. Anu, over to you.
Sources have told us that an interministerial group met on Monday regarding availability of BS6 fuel in sync with BS6 vehicles. The discussions were led by Department of Heavy Industries, and we've learned that it was decided that members of Society of Indian Automobile Manufacturers and Federation of Indian Petroleum Industry will form a joint working group for better coordination in the rollout of Bharat Stage 6 fuel. Oil companies have been asked to convey their plans of rolling out BS6 fuel across different parts of the country to the automobile makers so that they can start selling BS6 models in those regions earlier than the deadline of April 2020. We've learned that this move was seen necessary as automobile manufacturers feared facing substantial real estate crisis to store the BS6 compliant inventory as mass production will start December onwards. And also, simultaneously, they'll also have to stock some of the BS4 vehicles as well. So the move was seen to cater to that issue. Also, we learned that the industry, which is spending around 70,000 to 80,000 crore rupees on the transition to BS6 fuel norms from BS4, expects that most models, largely the high-volume ones, will be BS6 ready by December. But there may be some low-volume models which may become BS6 ready after April 2020.
Anu, thanks a lot for that. Some more news coming in on Jet Airways that NCLT will hear SBI's IBC plea against Jet Airways tomorrow. Remember, the matter was listed to be heard today. Now it will happen tomorrow. Not sure if it changes the fate of the company For a stock which has lost more than 60% in just the last 3 trading sessions, what was to happen today will now happen tomorrow. With that, we slip into a short break, come back, we talk about Wipro, the stock on our radar. It's the last day to participate in the buyback. More details on the other side.